Hello everybody inside virtual reality. Today we're going to be talking about, at least in my opinion, the top 10 free Quest games that are available right now because I wanted to be able to support all you Christmas noobs out there. I know with the plethora of different games that are available, along with the very lacking VR marketing that's going on right now, some of you may not know all the stuff that is available to you at the moment, and I wanted to be able to be there for you, support all of you in your endeavor to play the best games out there. So without further ado, let's get on into the video. Coming in at number 10, we have Pavlov Shack, a CSGO style game with a sprinkle of Gmod on top of it. The main style of this game is a search and destroy type game mode where one side has to plant a bomb and the other side has to prevent it from happening on 2 different points. And of course it has the classic CSGO style of buying your weapons at the beginning of every round and you get more money depending on if you win, if you get kills, etc. And there are also some sandbox type games that go along with this, like a free-for-all where you just drop into there, you loot different things, and if you die you lose everything, you just respawn, you come back down. It's just a free-for-all, you can make your own alliances, that kind of thing, with there also being zombies where you can go in there with some friends and kill some Z's. But there is a separate version of Pavlov. This is Pavlov Shack, which is free on the Quest, and then there is regular Pavlov, which is PC VR only. Unfortunately, with Pavlov Shack being a lesser version than Pavlov, there are some limitations. The gameplay doesn't feel as good as regular Pavlov, as well as the game modes and the maps being limited. All the stuff that's available on the regular Pavlov is not available on the Pavlov Shack. Coming in at number 9, we have Echo Arena. This is a zero-gravity game where you use your momentum along with hand thrusters to correct your position and a main thruster to be able to fly yourself forward in order to score on your enemies. The objective: fly through this zero gravity environment, grab the disc, and throw it into the other team's goal. Along with using your thruster to fly through the air and score the goal, one of the other features of the game is being able to use your fist to knock out the opponent if you hit them in the head. You'll just give them a short stun and they'll be back flying through the air in a few seconds. I'd say the only other reason why this isn't further down on my list of top 10 games is because 1, the party system is kind of buggy to where sometimes I can't even invite my friends to a party, and 2, unfortunately, while there are some great people that I've met on this game, it does seem like the majority of the audience that is on here does take out a lot of their aggression on this game, and there is a large amount of angry players that are on here, or even just children yelling racial slurs for no reason. Now, I know this may be a little ironic considering I said that I didn't put the other one further down on the list because of the community that was in there compared to Rec Room's community. However, as opposed to something like Echo Arena, while it does look cool, and it is a cool concept of a game, it doesn't provide the kind of variety that this game does. Within the same game, I can go and play a TDM paintball match, I can have a battle royale type game, I can go to a horror experience, I can play Pictionary with my friends, a whole assortment of different things to do. And I know there are going to be some people that are saying, okay, what about its competitor, VR Chat? And to that I would say I am mainly looking at the Quest end of this. For me, a lot of the things I've played in VR Chat were optimized for the PC VR end and not really the Quest end. And even on the PC VR end, I was even getting less than 60 frames on some of the things I was trying to do. While Rec Room may not look visually as beautiful, it does run a lot better on the Quest than some of the things I've tried out in VR Chat on my standalone Quest. With the fact that all the characters, cosmetics, maps, everything in here is very low poly, it does run a lot better, and it does provide an opportunity to be able to do better things inside the game, like provide more accurate hitboxes, have the game run better, etc. And while I have met some very peculiar individuals on this game, there are a good amount of people that did welcome me with open arms even when I was just casually playing off stream. People offering me fist bumps, just calling me cool, giving me a compliment, even people wanting to take a group photo with me. So yes, while there can be some bad parts of the community that are on this game, and I know that's the part that normally gets thrown out there into the media, you know, the people that are just yelling slurs and all that is what people see the most, there are some very nice parts of the Rec Room community.
You ain't gotta do all that, bro. Chill.
I'm sorry, I do have to.
Why? Why do you have to do this?
Content. Coming in at number 7, we have Reachers, a 5v5 game similar to Rainbow Six Siege but in virtual reality. This game does provide a plethora of different equipment you can use, attachments, you can buy your weapons and equipment at the beginning of every round, and I did rank this higher than its competitor Pavlov because of things like being able to use breaching foam, you're actually busting down doors and opening up places. It does provide a lot more unique of a concept of a game rather than the standard shooter. Now, while I will admit that the controls and the way this game runs and feels is not as good as Pavlov Shack, Shack, it does provide a uniqueness that I do like a lot more than Pavlov Shack. Being able to do things like actually use active camo and bust down doors to me is a lot more fun, even on a game that does not run as good. Next up in number 6, we've got something for all of you Blade and Sorcery fans, a free game on Quest known as Battle Talent. This fun free fighting game allows you to cut, crush, and kill your enemies. Along with providing realistic collision physics and a force grabbing feature, this game provides other features that games like Blade and Sorcery do not. It actually even has a firearm that you can see in the trailer if you choose to check this game out, along with having weapons that have special abilities you can see featured in the tutorial, like a sword that you can hold the trigger down and slash, and it'll actually provide a wind slash that does a ranged attack. Now I will say, while this game does provide different kinds of weapons you can use to have fun with, it all does kind of feel the same in the fact that I'm bludgeoning someone with a mace versus a club, or I'm cutting somebody with a longer sword versus a shorter sword. And while those of you that like games like Blade and Sorcery may even be a bigger fan of this game than me, it does feel very limited whenever I'm just trapped in a different circle arena every time, rather than a dungeon I can explore like Ancient Dungeon. Coming in at number 5, we have an absolutely spine-chilling game known only as SCP Lab Rat. This is a multiplayer horror experience with different difficulties, randomization, and different enemies that require different methods to be able to survive from. Every time you load into the game, it gives you a different world seed, which will randomize the SCP containment facility. Anything in this facility does have the ability to kill you if you're not careful, so make sure you know what you're dealing with ahead of time. All different SCPs have their own effects. For example, Peanut, one of the most popular SCPs, can only move whenever you're not looking at him, so even if you blink, you will die. Which is also why I wanted to tell you about this recording. If you see any point in the recording where it looks like it cuts to black for a second, that's not the game stuttering, that's actually the character blinking with the blink meter that you can see on your left wrist. There are also SCPs like a large red dog that can only hear you, so you actually have to stay quiet because it will register your mic and it will be able to hunt you if you sprint. There are even small cute teddy bears that if you stay near them long enough, the high-pitched squeal that they make gets louder and louder until it liquefies your brain. There's even a soda can in the game that if you drink it, you will experience hallucinations until you die. There are game features like a walkie-talkie that you have to attach batteries to be able to use with your teammates. You can find flashlights, gas masks to avoid poisonous areas, and key cards that you have to collect in order to get past certain doors, along with an SCP you can find in order to upgrade your key card. Can you make it out of the SCP laboratory alive, or will you just be another tragic footnote?
Oh, okay. Oh, what about video games? You know, that reminds me, somebody should make a video game based on this place.
Why would anyone do that?
I don't know, I just thought it was kind of a cool idea.
Well, I don't play video games either.
Coming in at number 4, we have Cards and Tankards, a fun strategic card game for the whole family. This game has often been called the Hearthstone or Yu-Gi-Oh! Of VR. You can build your own card decks, obtain gold from winning matches that you can use to be able to buy more cards, build multiple decks, customize the name and looks of them, as well as customize your own character and even have pets. The objective of the game is very simple. Get your opponent's health down to 0 and make sure yours does not reach 0. However, how you get to that objective is very complex. You can use a wide assortment of different monsters and spells in order to attack your opponent, defend yourself from your opponent's attacks, as well as attack them or attack their monsters directly with different spells. Different creatures can also have different attributes. For example, some of them may be flying creatures, so you actually have to have somebody that can take on the flying creatures. Not all characters can do that. There are also some that are ranged, where they get to attack first rather than you guys attacking at the same time. I always have a blast playing this on and off stream. It has so many features, so much customization, an immense amount of different cards, and I think it's a blast that anybody will have fun in. Have you ever wanted to know what it's like to play a rocket-style game in VR in first person? Well, look no further than Ultimex. Your objective is to get your ball into the enemy's goal by outmaneuvering your opponent. You use teleport pads in order to get around the map and shoot your fists off, and then control them after you shoot them off. The speed and power of your hit from your remote-controlled fists will depend on which class of mech that you choose. The 3 classes of mechs available are the Viper, the Nitro, and the Titan. The Viper, of course, being the weakest yet the fastest, but the Titan is the strongest yet the slowest. Also, depending on which character you choose, you also have your own special ability. The Viper has what's known as a Viper shot, which is like a single, very powerful sniper shot you can use to try to make the ball fly into the goal. The Nitro has a fist that after you shoot off, you can hold down the grip for your special ability and it will explode. And then the Titan can put up a wall that not only blocks the ball, but if you put the enemy inside of the wall, it will cause them to take damage over time. This is an amazing game, but I will say my really only 2 big beefs with this game is 1, there is no in-game voice chat unless you party up, so you can't just go into a random lobby and have a conversation with people, which actually enjoy doing because I like meeting people in VR. That, and people do treat this a lot like Call of Duty lobbies, where if they're not winning, they just leave, and there is no leaving penalty. So there were multiple occasions where I was winning, and I was doing well, I was having fun, and the other team would just leave if they weren't winning. Next up, we have Hyperdash, a game with the main feature of being able to dash around while shooting your enemies. Hyperdash provides different game modes like Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Domination, Capture the Flag, One Life Elimination, Payload. This game also provides a huge amount of different customization options for your guns and your robots. You can unlock customization options from leveling up in general and winning matches, or from even getting individual kills with that specific gun. There are different features on top of each other inside the game. For example, your dash feature allows you to be able to dash on these metal rails, along with you also having your starter pistol that if you hold the trigger can actually charge up the shot and have it ricochet to be able to hit enemies around corners. This game is extremely fun. I had a blast playing it with my community, and really the only bug that I noticed so far while playing it is the fact that whenever you die, sometimes the damage after you die isn't fully registered into the game properly. So for example, I could shoot a charged shot and then die, and there's about a 50-50 chance that the charged shot after hitting the opponent will actually even do damage to them. Other than that, this is an amazing game with a bunch of customization options, different game modes, and it's a blast to play. For our top spot on the free VR games listing, we have Vertical Shift, one of the best games in VR I have ever played. You can interact with this map by using your grapple shooters, your hand thrusters, gliding, or even walking. This game not only looks visually amazing with its cyberpunk type art style, but also has a huge variety of different game modes you can play and methods to be able to customize your character. For the game modes, we have Freeze Tag. The objective here is to be able to use the EMP that you can shoot out of your hand to freeze the other team before you get frozen yourself. First team to 10 points wins. Next up, there's Infection, which has been called the Gorilla Tag game mode of Vertical Shift, with the goal of course being to avoid the infected person if you're not infected, or to infect everybody else by using the EMP if you are infected. Next up, we have Racing, where you go along a specified path collecting checkpoints, avoiding obstacles like walls or even lasers. Next up is Oddball, which can be seen like the opposite of Infection, where you hold on to something and you're trying not to get tagged, while everybody else is trying to take what you have. And lastly, it's the Social mode, where the only objective is to have fun, grapple around with your friends in a giant city, explore new places, and just have a blast. Vertical Shift is fun, it's free, there's so many things you can do in here, amazing customization options. The dev team is so incredibly kind. I could not have asked for a better game for the top of this list. Out of everything, the only two things that I would say need to be improved about this game are the ping, where because it is such a high, fast-paced game, that sometimes it feels like some of the activities are a little bit off, where you may seem like you tag somebody and they don't get tagged, or that you shouldn't have been tagged but you do just because of the difference in ping, and also the fact that the VoIP sometimes gets loud when it shouldn't, that kind of thing. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments, what are some of your favorite games on the quest that I did not mention, or do you think that some of my choices could have been better? I'll be leaving some videos playing over here in the boxes in case you want to see anything else out on the channel. This is my first top 10 listing that I've ever done. Most of everything else has just been either tech reviews, individual game reviews, or even just comedy compilations, something to give you guys a little smile. But with all that being said and done, hope you all have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you next time.